The so-called Mary Poppins of misinformation has reportedly resigned, and the Biden regime's new Disinformation Governance Board may be facing elimination. Coming up next on TechShark. Welcome to TechShark, bite-sized news for conservatives surfing the net. The Washington Post reported that, according to anonymous DHS sources, the board has been paused and may be dismantled. Conservatives and free speech advocates cheered the news of the DGB's demise, but say a mere pause doesn't go far enough to protect free speech. CNN also reported that ultimately Jankowicz told CNN she resigned because she wasn't sure whether the board had a future after the debacle of the last few weeks. Media Research Center President Brent Bozell tweeted that the Ministry of Truth needs to be canceled, not just paused. We don't need the government telling us what to think. He followed up by writing how Washington Post blaming conservatives for daring to defend free speech is the icing on the cake. Yes, we love free speech, and real journalists should too. Now, this article from the Washington Post claimed that Jankowicz was on the receiving end of the harshest attacks, with her role mischaracterized as she became a primary target on the right-wing internet. She has been subject to an unrelenting barrage of harassment and abuse, while unchecked misrepresentations of her work continue to go viral. Now, of course, we know that's nonsense for a bunch of reasons. Jankowicz became a lightning rod for mockery and criticism because she was worthy of mockery and criticism. 20 state attorneys general sent a letter proclaiming there is perhaps no clearer illustration of the folly of the Disinformation Governance Board than the consistently poor judgment of the person you have made its executive director, Nina Jankowicz. Ms. Jankowicz, the self-styled Mary Poppins of disinformation, is like so many who complain about misinformation and disinformation. She is often in error, but never in doubt. The letter cited a litany of Jankowicz's worst hits, explaining precisely why she had a history of spreading misinformation herself. She has previously suggested news that Hunter Biden's laptop had been compromised was the product of a foreign disinformation campaign. She asserted that the theory tracing COVID-19 to a lab leak in China was invented because it was politically convenient for Trump. Although the intelligence community now assesses that this theory may well be correct. She has even praised Christopher Steele, the discredited author of the infamous false dossier about President Trump, and one of the most notable peddlers of disinformation in recent memory. Now here's the shark bite. This is a major win, but there's so much more work to be done. This whole Jankowicz saga shows two very clear things. The government is at times staffed by sinister goofballs. It also shows that we need to stay on the biggest internet platforms to call these goofballs out. I just find so much about this Washington Post article to just be hilarious. For instance, the photo of Nina Jankowicz literally working in the press room of Zelensky's campaign headquarters in 2019 in Kiev, Ukraine, according to the Pete Kehart Redux photo caption in the Post article, reminding us so much of her background is like a deep state Mad Lib. What's even more hilarious is that this article was written by Taylor Lorenz. Yes, that Taylor Lorenz. The Washington Post tech reporter who doxed libs of TikTok, an account of a private user who merely posts the most sinister or cringeworthy content shared publicly by liberals on TikTok. As podcaster Tim Pool wrote, revealing the name of libs of TikTok is one thing, but Taylor Lorenz went well beyond by publishing the private home address as well. WAPO appears to have removed the address after a backlash. So we've got cry-bully Nina Jankowicz from the government and cry-bully Taylor Lorenz from the liberal media. Criticizing them, of course, makes liberals call us the bad guys. Jankowicz became the czar of a dystopian government department acting as the Ministry of Truth, but she's portrayed as some innocent civil servant unfairly targeted for being a woman. Lorenz doxed a meme account for reposting liberals looking their worst, and she's merely portrayed as some citizen journalist unfairly targeted for being a woman. We live in this absurd time. We're calling out exactly what a liberal person is doing as they do it and criticizing it as immoral, and they might respond by hiding behind their gender or racial identity and say, you're the hater for criticizing them. This is the cry-bully phenomenon to a T. People like us are called bullies for calling out the actual bullies who work to protect the leftist narrative for the most powerful governments and platforms in the world. It's weirdly poetic, and follow me along here, that Libs of TikTok's whole shtick is showing libs embarrassing themselves. Taylor Lorenz doxes Libs of TikTok because Libs of TikTok makes libs look goofy. Then, a cringeworthy liberal TikTok from Jankowicz goes viral thanks to right-wing activists. The Disinformation Governance Board is, well, looks like it's about to be scrapped. And then doxer Taylor Lorenz wrote a piece lamenting the whole thing. Again, the Mary Poppins of disinformation flying away is a major win, and she can feed the birds for tuppence a bag, for all I care. What this all shows is why we need to stay on the internet and keep the government in check, because there's so much more work to be done. But that's all the time we have, folks. Thanks for watching TechShark, brought to you by MRC Free Speech America and MRC-TV. Have a good week.